And today I am going to be talking about my week with fibromyalgia. So I was on the verge of tears. I just emotionally felt like crying. My body felt like collapsing.
You still are laying on the bed? You haven't gotten up yet today? Yeah, that's how I felt all day yesterday. Just like that.
Hello and welcome to Michelle's Life on Repeat. I am here in my kitchen, dining room, living room space, just saying hello, coming in to talk about fibromyalgia. This week, for the past 10 days, has been a doozy. I thank you for joining me. Let's chit chat. Good morning. Good morning. It has been a very long week. Just going to try to, fix some of the damage of sleep deprivation. You know how that goes. If you have fibromyalgia, you know what I'm talking about. It has been a harder week for me than most. Normally, migraines are what takes me down, but I'm on a 10-day stretch of just fibromyalgia. I went into my physical therapist yesterday and she said, "What are we working on today? What hurts?" And I said, "Well, everything from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head." She's like, "Well, can you narrow it in just a little bit?" And I'm like, "Oh, probably not." But we worked on the shoulders and the lower back, turning and doing all that stuff with your neck and how it pulls across the blades of your muscles in your back. I guess I don't know what causes flare-ups with fibromyalgia, but when it happens, it's your body's way of saying it's time to slow down. And so that is what I'm doing. I do every day. I try to do something just to keep busy. And this week, what have I done? I've done a few things. I've gone out and done the basic grocery shopping. I've gone to my secondhand store to look for mason jars for canning. I rarely ever wear makeup, but I thought, what the heck? Sometimes it makes a girl feel like she's more awake than she really is. I have done a physical therapy appointment. There's been lots of rain this week, so that might be why I'm feeling beat up. Yesterday it was downpouring. I had to go through the rain with the wiper blades going crazy, full force. But got home, made it home safely. I was able to do some canning yesterday. Well, it was a 3-day process. The first day what was I doing? I was soaking the beans, because I made it with homemade beans. I made baked beans, Boston baked beans. And the first day is soaking the beans. Second day is a little bit of boiling, adding the spices. Then I let it bake. And then, what did I do? Then I canned it after it was baked up and the beans weren't fully softened yet, because I didn't want mush. So I baked them, and here's a picture. I have a canned 7 quarts of the baked beans, and then I had leftovers that are in the crock pot that I will have today to eat, and then I have leftovers this weekend. And so I've been busy doing that, but I didn't even have the energy this morning to wash the jars down and put them away yet. So I am working on retrieving my energy. I thought perhaps I would find it after I showered. That energy, that bucket of energy, it's somewhere to be found, isn't it? Those of us who do makeup probably could do it in the dark. I don't wear makeup that often, but every once in a while. So I have been canning because the prices of groceries have me a little on edge. I want to be a little more stocked up in my pantry with things, in case things get really cray-cray here in our country, which, is always a possibility. And knowing that, our ancestors always canned, they survived by planning and preparing for what might lie ahead in their winter season. They planned in their spring and their summers. So that's what I've been doing what I can. I have the huge 10-pound bag of potatoes. That's my next thing. I want to get them ready. I did not expect this video to be one about me putting on makeup. So, oh well. You done what we done. Damage is done. Now for a little chapstick. And then we are done. So I hope to do potatoes next. I hope to find some more recipes to create, some new soups. I have one from Todd that I wanted to create. He had a sausage and bean and kale soup. Can't wait to try that. Let's go downstairs. Alrighty. Bet there's a dog. She slept in. She took over where I left off. Let's see if she's at the door outside here. Ready for your breakfast now? Yeah? Okay, let's get some. Time to wake up the world. Not much sunshine today. Good morning. So I wish I understood fibromyalgia better and what makes it do what it does. I often believe it is triggered and flared up in my body when my mind is mentally exhausted and drained or stressed. And I know this week I listened more than I should have to news reports. You know, I told you earlier that I can only process so much trauma or drama because I am hypersensitive. And I think this week I found a few new YouTubers to watch, but instead of gleaning information that would help me, I was hearing more fear and doom, and it just built my anxiety right the heck up. So I had to remind myself, and I remind you, that what we put into our bodies, our souls, our hearing, our vision, really does affect us. So I had to shut that off, unsubscribe to some places that I was going where I wanted to know maybe what's happening around the whole world, but it was just beginning to be so intense that it just overwhelmed my soul. No, I don't want to put my head in the sand like an ostrich. I do want to have some cognizant ability to say, I can see that this is happening and that is happening and that is happening, and how it will affect my life in the weeks, months, years ahead. It is very valid, but I can't dwell on the darkness of all of that because it just renders me unable to cope. So I had to do the opposite, which was for me turning on my worship music, letting it blast the truths that I believe in, and remind myself, yep, no matter what happens, there is a God in control. No matter what happens, I have that ability to be thankful, to be praising, and to say there's good, there's bad, and I always believe that good will outweigh the bad. So that's what I had to do yesterday, because I was on the verge of tears. I just emotionally felt like crying. My body felt like collapsing. Everything was screaming, high alert, high anxiety, high alert. And I just had to shut down the noise that came from many arenas of my life and make it a little bit quieter. So after I did my physical therapy yesterday, and she pushed and worked the muscles, she does counter strain, which isn't an aggressive physical therapy. It's not a full-on massage. It is a pushing very delicately on the two ends of the muscle groups. So often she will be working on muscles that are pulling from here, and it will be pulling across the back of my rib cages or on my sternum, and she's lightly putting counter pressure and counter strain to release in the torque that's going on. She actually had her hands behind my head like this, cupping the back of my skull while I was on the table, and she had my knees up in the air, and she said, now move them from your hips, move them sideways. And it felt like she was pulling my neck every time I would go to the side. And she says, I'm not pulling that. That's your own body pulling. When you turn your legs to the side, it is pulling the whole muscles in your back that are tight and up all the way to the skull. So she helped me to relax and readjust those muscles that were pulling. And of course, when you're done, you just feel wiped out. But I know that it is a good kind of wiped out. So I drink lots of my water after I do a counter strain physical therapy. I stopped and did one errand, and then got on the freeway at rush hour to get back home, to fall into my jacuzzi bath. Well, it's not a jacuzzi bathtub. I fell into the bathtub with Epsom salts, and I took a muscle relaxer. I drank lots of water, and I took my anti-inflammatories, and I just told myself I was done. Ate leftovers from the night before, which I had made some tilapia, some barley with mushrooms, grains, with a little bit of butter and salt on it. That was so good. And some green beans. And I just ate my leftovers in my pajamas and sat in my chair, which is the one back by that window, and just listened for good things. I watched my orchid videos of my friends and thought about beautiful things, and boy, that sure helped me relax. I slept well last night. I feel more alive today than I did for the past 9 days, where I just everything with fibromyalgia, it feels like everything pulls, like gravity pulling you, extremely down. The muscles in the arms, the shoulders, the legs, the feet, the brain, and cognitively, you just don't feel all the way there. And if you have fibromyalgia, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't have fibromyalgia, you're like, what? I don't get it. I am so glad that you don't get it and that you don't have it. But just know that, whatever you're struggling with is your struggle, and you don't have to compare it to somebody else. You don't have to say it's not as bad because, so-and-so over there, that, they're dealing with scar tissue and things and healing from hospitals. You don't have to belittle the fact that you are in discomfort or you are in pain. It is always good to have a perspective that it could be worse and that it's not. That helps you in your own brain to balance out the oh my gosh, I'm gonna die syndrome. It helps you to know that things could be worse. But it doesn't belittle the fact that you are feeling like crap. And so when you are feeling that low, not so good feeling, your body is telling you it's time to rest. Your body is telling you it might be time to cry. It might be time to release some of that tension that's built up inside of you. Crying has a very healing property to it, and let those tears fall. regroup, replenish your water, hydrate, try to find the positives, try to find something that you listen to or watch that makes you laugh, makes you giggle, maybe some I Love Lucy's shows, or some worship music or some meditative music. But you have to actively search out for the good and the peaceful things amongst all the crazies that are going on in your brain and in your body and in the societies that we live in. So I encourage you today, if you're feeling down, it is okay. And if you're feeling up, well, do what you can and enjoy it. And I was visiting another person's YouTube site, and I made a comment because that person was encouraging me and all of us as the viewers to keep busy. These are the times, these are the days, these are the hours that we must be in preparing mode, preparing and doing what we can, because you always know a winter season will come. A dry season will come where you are not at your peak, and you can go in and use your resources that you have already done, your canning that you've already done. I don't have to go to the store. I don't have to worry about my children being fed, that kind of stuff. She was encouraging us, stay busy. And I am all for staying busy, but I am more so for staying mindful and aware where your mind and your body are taking you. If that busyness is driving you to a crazy state, then it is time to sit in your favorite chair, lay in your most comfy position in bed, and breathe. And just say, this is what I'm doing. And it is okay that this is all I'm doing, because I am replenishing myself. And you can't help someone else if you're not taking care of yourself. And I can't help my husband or my children or my mama if I am worn thin. So you must always remember, stay busy when you can and rest when you need to. Well, I was on that person's site, and while she was encouraging me, I had made a comment that I went out today amongst my fibromyalgia flare-up, my chronic fatigue flare-up, and I was trying to pull weeds so I can start my garden, and I physically could only pull 2 or 3 weeds, and they were so tight in the ground. And I realized the stupidity of what I was trying to do was that my body was screaming, not today, Michelle, but I was mind over matter, gonna do it. And I came in, sat down, watched the video, and made that comment that I tried today, but I just couldn't, had to listen to my body. And I'll pick it back up when I am rejuvenated. And some idiot made a rude comment that I was just being a lazy ass, basically is what they were saying. Don't be a lazy ass. Stop using excuses. Medical conditions they're just excuses. And I felt like saying, if I could have, I probably wouldn't have throat punched him. But that was my initial response, because I'm doing all that I can, and I'm doing the best that I can. And then I realized how foolish they were, because thankfully they never have had to walk in my shoes, and they may never have fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue pain. And I'm glad that someone isn't, but that still didn't stop them from being a complete idiot and opening their mouth and sharing stupidity. But you just let it roll off. Everything in you wants to rise up and defend the fact that, this is a real illness. This is a real thing. I do really feel this. And you realize, don't waste your energy. They're not worth it. So if you are down today, if you are up today, if you are spinning around the house doing a million bazillion things, I am happy for you. And if you are resting, I'm happy for you too. And we do not need to apologize for any of it. I am going to make a video about my new Qualipta that I've been on for about 4 months now for my migraine relief. That'll be coming up soon. And I'm also going to be making another video on my 6-month update of my nerve ablation that I had on my neck. And so look forward to those coming around the pipe. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. I am very thankful for my 3 beautiful, wonderful, highly intelligent, awesome children. I love you guys. If you watch my videos, which I doubt. Because who wants to watch their mama chitter chatter on the screen? Anyway, happy Mother's Day to all of you who are mamas and have cared for other people in your life and sacrificed so much. I wish you all wellness and peace and rest today if you are in a flare. Until we talk again, bye-bye. For